What a card. I mean, that was a spectacular fight card. Listen, the first two fights were a little snoozy, and then that pace picked up, and every fight after that was awesome. And tell me if you feel the same way, but it was funny starting with the Chandler GAETHJE fight because that fight was incredible. And then immediately after was the Shane Burgos Billy Quarantillo fight, which was also incredible, but it actually didn't feel as big, right? Because they're not that fight was less meaningful in the big picture, but it was also an awesome fight. The Frankie Edgar fight was an awesome fight. Co-main awesome, main awesome. That entire main card was absolutely spectacular. I am going to walk through our successes, our picks, our bets, our monkey knife fights. Then I'm going to walk through some of the fights, talk about how I felt about some of them, some of the controversial decisions. We'll dig in a little bit deeper to that WEILI NAMAJUNAS fight. And then we will see who won our free DraftKings league, which means we will find out who gets paid by me, because you win our league, I send you money. It's that simple. Let's jump into the bets. I had another good night. My streak continues. If you're new here, you're one of the couple hundred people that just started subscribing this week. I have not been down money on bets in 6+ months. I am writing an unfathomable win streak. It's defying logic. I will lose eventually. I'm not going to pretend that I've been kissed by an angel and I'll never lose. I will lose eventually because it is impossible to win money as long as I've been winning money. Let me walk through what I got here. But before I do, go to wewantpicks.com/bets for a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer because it's getting overwhelming how many people I'm having to pay out. But if you go to wewantpicks.com/bets, you will see 3 different betting promotions. Jump into one of them, make a deposit, or all 3. Make a deposit. Let me know after you made your deposit, and I will send you $50. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, however you want it. I will send you $50 as a thank you for supporting us and supporting our partners. All I need is a screenshot of your deposit and your username so I can validate it. Make a deposit, $50 or more. I'll send you $50 however you want it. wewantpicks.com/bets. It's that simple. I'll send you free money. Let's walk through. I am up 1.5 units. It's not a ton of money, but I don't bet a ton of money, or it's not a ton of units. I don't tell you how much my units are, but it's not a ton, but I do this every single week. 1.5 units, 2 units, sometimes 3. Every single week, I guarantee people were murdered last night on their bets. But I had a good night. Chris Barnett, plus 105, 1 unit on the money line. I hope you guys paid attention this week. I was so high on Chris Barnett all week. I know lots of other people just sort of looked at him physically and said he's a bum, fade him. Absolutely not. I spent time with him. I've spent a couple years with him in the XFC, spending time with him firsthand, how athletic he is, how he can make his body do things that somebody that looks like that shouldn't do. So great job for him. Congrats on him getting his UFC win. John Villante, I knew that was going to happen. 1 full unit there. Prop bets. Usman Covington over 3.5 rounds. Hit that. I was pretty confident that. I hate paying -155s, -150s. I hate going that far, but I was positive that was going to hit. 1 unit on that. I missed this next parlay. I had an over 1.5 round parlay. I missed it. Did I miss all 3 of those? I think I missed, Barnett, Villante hit. I missed 2 of the 3. I only had a half a unit on that. I don't know why I did that, and I told you guys I wasn't confident in that, but I missed that, and that's fine. I also missed my Usman HAWES parlay at 1 unit. We'll get into that fight in a minute, but I did hit. Hopefully, you watched our pre-fight live stream, and I uploaded the video of Jacob talking about it. Bet Online, one of our 3 betting partners that I mentioned, does daily boosters. Well, they'll just boost up some odds to encourage money coming in. They did a Rose Usman parlay, and it boosted up to plus 250. It was normally plus 180. It boosted its way up to plus 250. So I threw a half a unit on that, and that's what helped me out here. So I'm up 1.5 units total with the daily booster that I did during the live stream. If you remove the daily booster, if you say, hey, Angelo, I didn't get to watch the live stream, but I did watch the betting breakdown, and I didn't see that. Doesn't matter. I'm still up, but I would be up 0.2 units. So no matter what, I'm up. If you add in the daily booster because you watched the live stream, you followed along, I'm up 1.5 units. So overall successful night. wewantpicks.com/bets. Jump into a promo. I will pay you $50. The streak continues. I had 3 streaks. I only knew about one. I didn't even pay attention to the others. One was I have not been down units in 6+ months. Every single week we do this. I have not been down. The other streak was I have not missed a money line. And you guys pointed that out. I didn't realize that my money lines never miss. I had no idea, honestly. You guys pointed that out. I did have another streak that ended. And Chris Riley from Monkey Knife Fight, he jinxed me. He said, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if I should tell you this, but you have not picked a women's fight wrong. Period. I have not seen you pick a women's fight wrong. And I had WEILI. We will talk about that fight. I'm convinced I didn't pick it wrong. I'm convinced she won that fight. But technically, that streak dies. Let's move on. Monkey Knife Fight, down $10. Down $10. That little streak ended as well. I went from $150 to $140. I hit the Knockout Kings, which is straight up guaranteed money every single week. I hit the more in the main event. And then I missed a few others. So it is what it is. I'm down $10 a Monkey Knife Fight, but I'm going to make up for that today with the NFL. Thank God for my brother-in-law who gives me his NFL picks, which will help me boost. If you want to play Monkey Knife Fight, go to wewantpicks.com/MKF. Jump in. There is a free instant deposit match. You give them $50, they'll give you 50. You give them 100, they'll give you 100. Jump in. Use their free money. Use the free 100. I say this to everybody, and I'm not like, there's literally no risk. Deposit $100. They'll give you 100. You now have 200 in your account. Use the free 100. Use the free 100. Play some of the lines. NFL, we got games all day. Play some of those lines. If you make money, great. If you lose money, that's fine too. Either way, withdraw your original 100. You have now spent $0, and whatever's left is house money. wewantpicks.com/MKF. If you don't know what it is, we have videos explaining. You just get to pick lines more or less. Easiest thing in the world, ton of fun, and it adds a whole new level of excitement to watching sports. Let's talk about some fights. My man, Chris Barnett, puts out Gian Villante. And what did we say in the breakdown? Chris Barnett is stupid athletic. Stupid athletic. That guy does things with his body that he should not be able to do. He's short, he's fat, but he's athletic, and he has power, and he is a legit heavyweight. Gian Villante is also fat. He's tall, but Gian Villante is fat because he doesn't take his career seriously, and he hasn't in a very long time. Great guy, ton of fun, super funny, but he does not take his career seriously, and it's showed over the last few years. Chris Barnett, that's just his body. I compared him to Roy Nelson. That's just, he could train 24/7, and that's just how he's going to be heavy. It is what it is. Either way, we said he's athletic. We put a money line bet on him, and it was his athleticism that got it done. I felt like he was a step behind on John's sort of plodding striking. Chris was a step behind. And then wild spinning back kick to the head, put him down, finished the fight, did a backflip. Chris Barnett, raw athleticism, got it done. Looked great. I'm curious to see his next matchup because as high as I am on Chris, got to pay attention. Styles make fights, so I'll pay attention to see what the next matchup is. But I'm so happy for him. He got a UFC win. He's had a long career outside the UFC, put in his time, ton of fun, very entertaining, good for him. Ian Garry versus Jordan Williams. Listen, we picked Ian Garry to win. Ian Garry won. And if you look on paper, Ian Garry won by first round knockout. Or was it the second round? I forget. I think it was first round. First round knockout. Well, watch the fight because he got rocked. He was on the wrong side of a lot of combinations. He was initiating the wrestling because he was behind on the striking. And then eventually he got it done. He got to Jordan Williams. Listen, I don't know who they match him up against next, but I would say Ian Garry did not live up to the hype, right? Yes, spectacular finish, but he was on the wrong side of that fight leading up to that. He's supposed to be the dominant striker, and he was getting outstruck. He was getting wobbled. There was a moment where like, he's going to lose this fight. And then he pulled it off, and good for him. And he was 23, and it's Madison Square Garden and his UFC debut, and maybe that's why he was struggling with the head movement and getting hit. I'm going to be paying very close attention to see who his next fight is, who the next matchup is, because he may be a hard fade. He may be a giant favorite. We take a look, like give him Dustin Jacoby, right? Dustin Jacoby takes his head off his body. So I'm very curious to see who the matchup will be for him next. I'm sure the UFC saw what I saw and what everybody else should have seen is that, listen, he won, and thank God he won because we're going to push the hell out of him, but let's take our time with this one and not throw him into the fire. Very curious to see. Well, let me know in the comments if you agree with that statement. You guys may completely disagree with me and think he looks spectacular, but I think he pulled off a spectacular win, but he did not look great leading up to it. Biggest upset on the entire card. Biggest upset in a very long time. Chris Curtis, Phil Hawes. Listen, Phil Hawes is the superior athlete, better wrestling, more power. Not as good of a striker, and a chin is a chin. While Phil has more just raw power, Chris Curtis was losing that fight, right? He was a step behind on the striking, but boom, big strike, got Phil Hawes wobbled and got it done. Put Phil Hawes out. But here's what was frustrating about that fight. Well, two things. First of all, huge credit to Jacob, and I'll show you the clip in a second, but Jacob straight up said, Phil Hawes, do not mess around with the striking. You're going to want to because you think you're a striker now. Do not mess with the striking. Stick to wrestling. Chris Curtis is way too dangerous. So Jacob's analysis was spot freaking on with this fight. I'll show you that clip in a second. What was very interesting and annoying is Phil Hawes, he was, up until the knockout, and this is going to sound stupid, right? But up until the knockout, he was winning those striking exchanges, and he was too comfortable. How many times did we see him lower his level, literally touch the back of Chris Curtis's legs? Perfectly lowered level, touch the back of his legs, completely come back up, and then strike. And you know what? The first two times he did it, he lowered his level, reached, came back up, strike, looked great. Great fade, great feint, great, recovery to the strike, and it was planned. The one where he basically fully wrapped the legs, came back up, also planned, but that was getting ridiculous at that point. Because what happened was he was the boy who cried wolf. The whole point of that fake takedown come up to strike is to catch Chris Curtis off guard. Hopefully get Chris Curtis worried that you're going to shoot a takedown so he can't settle into the striking. Well, guess what didn't happen? You never actually committed to a takedown. So after you faked it 3 or 4 times, and it was very clear you weren't going to do it, Chris Curtis was able to settle in. Oh, he's not going to take me down. He's not even trying to. So Chris Curtis was able to settle in. Chris Curtis was able to let his hands go, and he put Phil Hawes out. Top 5 dumbest strategies I've ever seen. The first 2 times he did it, it made sense. Get him worried about the takedowns, come up top. But then you actually need to commit to one of those takedowns. Stop faking it, because then it's not a fake anymore, because he knows you're not going to do it. So boy who cried wolf, he overplayed his hands. Phil Hawes was having success early, but didn't mix it up. He's not the better striker, so he shouldn't have been messing around with the striking as long as he did. Should have committed to some takedowns. He didn't. Chris Curtis, good for you, man. I said it in the breakdown. You deserve to be in the UFC. You have earned your spot in the UFC. I thought Phil Hawes was going to win, as did everybody else. Don't pretend. Outside of people who know Chris personally, don't pretend you had Chris winning this fight. All the credit in the world to Jacob for nailing the breakdown. And check out what he said here.
And that could be an issue for Phil. Listen, if you're Phil Hawes, just wrestle, man. Just wrestle. Get your win. Get out of there. You want to take this serious. You don't want to mess around with guys like this, because he is a boxer and he does have real power. If you try and strike with this guy, you get clipped a little bit and you're done. You're a 350 favorite. You should win. Just wrestle him, man. I'm telling you, Phil, if you try to strike with this guy, it could be a problem. Just wrestle him, take him down, control him, do what you got to do on the ground. Don't strike with them, because as you mentioned, everyone's got a puncher's chance. And if anyone has a puncher's chance, it's going to be Chris, because he's one of those pure boxers. So, Phil, man, just wrestle, get your win, get your payday, get out of there.
Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. This was the main card opener because Trevor Whitman coaches Gaethje, Usman, and Rose, and he didn't want to do all 3. He needed to prep Rose and Usman, more so Rose because he couldn't really prep Usman. So if Justin was fighting before Rose, he wouldn't be able to be in the locker room warming Rose up. Either way, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, what a fight. That was a spectacular fight. What our breakdown said was Justin Gaethje is a zombie. He's got power. He comes forward. He doesn't use his wrestling, but he has the wrestling. But eventually he is going to show the wear on his chin. Nobody can take the shots that he takes for an extended period of time. He does not have many years left on his career. His chin is going to have to give out. And Michael Chandler, we said, all fast twitch muscle, super live for knockout. We think he's going to come in with a wrestle game plan. He didn't really come in with a wrestle game plan, did he? He did shoot a few takedowns. He attempted that. He straight up picked Justin Gaethje straight up, brought him straight down. He overcommitted to bringing him down. If you watch that closely, he picked Justin straight up. And when he slammed him to the mat, he hit his own head. And then he sort of, you know, I wouldn't say wobbled himself, but he hit his own head on the way down and then sort of lost a half a second there. And then that's what created the scramble. And Justin was able to get out of that takedown. Either way, Justin Gaethje's chin at this point is still legendary, but I feel like it's starting to fade, right? Was I wrong? Were there not moments in that fight where it looked like Michael Chandler might have been able to put Justin Gaethje out? It looked like there was a couple exchanges there where it's like, oh my God. But either way, I feel like the story of this fight was, we already knew Justin Gaethje's chin. That's no surprise there, how great that is. We knew Justin Gaethje has power. No surprise there. What was surprising to me was Michael Chandler's chin held up as well as it did. He's chinny. And he got cracked a few times, and that chin held up, and he stayed in that fire. That surprised me. The other thing that surprised me is both of them with the leg kicks. Michael Chandler was crazy successful with the leg kicks, and I feel like if he stuck with that more, he might have been able to pull off the win. Either way, Justin Gaethje, good for you. It's probably better for the division that Justin Gaethje won this fight. It was certainly entertaining as hell. These two should fight 10 times a year. I'll watch that fight over and over and over again. Great fight. Awesome. Justin Gaethje, good for him. You're curious to see what happens, where it goes. I wouldn't mind seeing Gaethje Poirier again. That first fight was very good, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again. But Michael Chandler, I don't know what they're going to do with him. He's still up there. I mean, he showed he still can hang in those fights. Tons of power, tons of fast twitch muscle. I cannot believe his chin held up. Hopefully he doesn't rely on that chin in too many more fights. Same with Justin Gaethje. Either way, ton of fun. Loved it. Hope you did too. Co-main event. Let's spend a minute here. Rose Namajunas versus WEILI. I think we all knew it wasn't going to be a Rose immediate knockout again, right? That first fight, 2 minutes, that was fluky. Everybody talking about, oh, Rose set it up beautifully. The feints. Relax. She threw a head kick and it landed. It wasn't 2 minutes of master chess leading up to the head kick. That's nonsense. That's a ridiculous narrative that people just latched onto and are regurgitating for some reason. Either way, both of these women looked spectacular last night. Both of them did. I think WEILI won the fight. I'll show you the stats in a second. I think WEILI won rounds 1, 2, and 3. And Rose won rounds 4 and 5, 3-2. We score fights based on rounds, 3-2. I thought it was that simple, that cut and dry. I thought WEILI did a great job closing the distance, did a great job working in the wrestling. I thought Rose did a great job not getting frustrated. She did not get frustrated when she was on the wrong side of those grappling exchanges. She did not get frustrated when she got touched up a few times, and she stayed in that fight. And both of these women are warriors. And do I think this is the biggest robbery I've ever seen? No. But you score rounds in MMA. You don't score the whole fight. You score rounds. And it was clear to me WEILI won 3 rounds. And I know a lot of you diehard Rose, if they scored it the other way, first of all, you would not have as much of an argument as I have to say that, Rose won. And if they scored it the other way, I think you'd be okay with it. I know Jacob was on Rose. Jacob scored it 3-2 for Rose and said, if they gave it to WEILI, I'm not arguing. That seemed accurate. But let's take a look at the stats. Here up top, we have the total fight stats. The fight as a whole, total strikes, Rose Namajunas 130, WEILI 162. Takedowns, 2 for Rose, which really won, but 2 for Rose, 5 for WEILI. No real submission attempts that they scored, but WEILI was working on bottom. And then the control time, Rose had more, WEILI had less, but you score rounds. You score rounds. Let's look at the rounds. Round 1. WEILI 36 strikes to 22. WEILI 1 takedown to 0. WEILI 1 minute of control time. WEILI won the first round. Can't argue with me. Round 2 was closer. Round 2 is the one that I think people are questioning. But look, total strikes 21 for WEILI, 22 for Rose. Literally a 1 strike difference. 1 strike difference. 1. But look at the control time. They somehow gave Rose a takedown, which I don't, I disagree with it. I don't think that existed. If you want to count it, fine. She got 1 takedown for 31 seconds of control time. WEILI got 1 takedown for 38 seconds of control time. Sounds a little ridiculous. We're splitting hairs here, but I thought WEILI controlled that fight. 1 of 3 takedowns means she was more active. She was attempting those takedowns. There was some cage control. She was busier on top when she got there, and there's a 1 strike difference between the two of them. I thought WEILI won round 2. Round 3, much more clear. 29 total strikes for WEILI, 16 for Rose. WEILI got a takedown for 1 minute of control time. Round 4, WEILI, 2 takedowns. 2 takedowns in round 4 for a minute of control time. There was a reversal there, so Rose ended up on top. Strike-wise, 32 for WEILI, 39 for Rose. So again, close with the striking. Rose won that round because of the reversal and that extra control time, even though WEILI had 2 takedowns in that round. Rose got it because of the extra control time. And round 5, that was very clearly Rose. But look, 4 minutes of the control time is in round 5. 2 minutes of it is in round 4. So that's 6 minutes of control time of her 7 total. She only had 1 minute outside of those 2 rounds. You score rounds in MMA. I think WEILI round 1, 2, 3, lost rounds 4 and 5. That's how I feel. Is this a hill I'm going to die on? No, I'm not going to lose my mind. And frankly, I picked WEILI, but I didn't bet on her. And I did have that odds booster parlay, Rose and Usman. So I made money on Rose winning. I'm happy at the end of the day because money is more important than a pick. So I made money on Rose winning. I'm fine with it. I disagree with it, but I don't think it was the robbery of the century, but the people in the comments, told you so, Sean V. Relax. That was a razor-thin decision that a lot of people think should have gone the other way. Settle down. I wouldn't call that a I told you so moment. Main event, spectacular fight. Usman Covington 2, absolutely spectacular fight. Listen, first 2 rounds, it looked like Kobe, like, oh boy, I was just praying he could survive so I could hit my over 3.5 prop bet. Because it was like, Kobe Covington's going to get murdered here. He's getting his ass kicked. And he was almost put out in the second round. And then all of a sudden, it was like almost being put out changed everything for him. And he put it together. Started initiating the wrestling. And he got a takedown. You heard DC scream, and that was a takedown. That counts. I don't know why they didn't score that. That was a takedown. But listen, Kobe Covington had his moments. Kobe Covington is a tough dude. He lost that fight. And I don't think people think he won that fight. But he lost that fight. He definitely took a round. I don't know why. I was worried that he was going to be knocked out in this fight, which is why I didn't bet it. But a plus 5.5 bet on Covington would have been awesome. Because he took the round. He would have gotten it. Great fight. I love it. I loved that moment at the end of clarity where Covington was like, it's all love, man. This is just for entertainment, which it is. But listen, Usman looked good. Usman did get touched. And it'll be very interesting to see what we have left. The problem for Usman here is I don't know if there's any big money fights left. Yeah, he could fight the winner of Edwards. Well, if Leon Edwards wins, he'll fight Leon Edwards. But if Masvidal wins, he's not going to fight Masvidal a 3rd time. That's crazy. And we have Chimaev there. I want to see that fight. I don't know if that's going to sell. Will that be big? If you're watching this channel, you're probably a pretty diehard, you understand what's going on. You pay close attention. So you guys feel that way. But if we remove us and our community from this, I don't know if my friends, my real life friends that don't really care about MMA that much outside of the big names, I don't know if they would watch that. So the problem for KANARU is he's been so dominant and he knocked off all the big money fights. I don't know what's next, but what a spectacular card, spectacular main event. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did last night. I'm up money. Hopefully you followed along and you're up money too. Let's see who won our free DraftKings League. If you don't know, we have a free DraftKings League. It costs nothing to sign up. It costs nothing to join. But if you win the league, I send you money. It is literally money from me to you and is literally to thank you for supporting the channel, showing up, participating, and we're just trying to grow this community. So if I got to pay to do it, that's what we're going to do. wewantpicks.com/DraftKings. Join the league, participate in our free contest every single week, and I'll pay you. The winner gets $15 if they are a subscriber to our channel. They get $30 if they are a member of this channel. There's a join button under every single one of our videos. That is how you become a member. It is incredibly supportive, incredibly helpful. Please do it. There's a couple perks, but sign up, become a member, and I'll give you $30. Eclothier, whatever. Eclothier, I don't know what your name is. You won 600 points, which is incredible. And quickly, you went 5-1. You have a loss in your lineup. And the optimal lineup, the highest possible scoring lineup that could have existed in time, included, it was a double up of the co-main event, WEILI and Rose. It was a double up in that fight, is the highest, most amount of points any lineup could have scored. That was the optimal lineup, which is interesting. Either way, you had Justin Gaethje, 92 points, Rose, 100. And we'll see, we'll jump into one of these. We'll see WEILI. WEILI scored 80-something in that loss. So WEILI had, if it went to a decision, minus the win points, WEILI was scoring more. Anyway, Billy Quarantillo, 75 points in a loss. Awesome. Good for him. Usman, 113 points in that win. Chris Curtis, 108, only 10% owned. How incredible is that? And Ian Garry, 109. And boy, was that not looking good. Good job, Eclothier. I don't know. Reach out. I'll get you paid $15 if you're a subscriber, $30 if you're a member. If you're a member, let me know your YouTube name so I can verify. Let's look at second place. Only 15 points off. Alex Pajeda, 87. Imamov, 98. Good for Imamov, man. I was on Shabazian there, and how stupid. We talked about how stupid Phil Hawes' game plan was by not wrestling. How stupid was Shabazian's game plan for wrestling? Why the hell are you grappling with Imamov, you idiot? So stupid. He was initiating. Imamov didn't have any takedowns in that fight. Zero takedowns. And he dominated on top because for some reason, Edmund Shabazian was like, oh, I'm going to wrestle. So stupid. So stupid. By the way, great pick with Imamov, 98 points. WEILI, 80 in a loss. 80 in a loss. Incredible. Usman, 113. Actually, 80 in a loss is incredible, but we just talked about Billy Quarantillo scored 75, which is less than 80, but he only had 3 rounds instead of 5. Usman, 113. Curtis, 108. And Chris Barnett, my man, pots and pans, 96. We'll take a look at third place. You're a freaking 1 point from second. Burgos, 119. Cheeto Vera, 94. Bobby Green, 111. Jacob nailed that one too. Go to our Twitter. I retweeted a clip from Jacob saying, I mean, Bobby was the favorite, so it's not that he nailed the pick because most people had Bobby, but he nailed that there would be a stoppage there after the whole world bet that it would go to a decision and the over on rounds. And Jacob said, I think Bobby Green's going to come out here and put Al Iaquinta out, and that's exactly what he did, 118. WEILI, Chris Curtis, Ode Osbourne, 69 points. I had Ode in my lineup too. I was disappointed with the 69, hoping for a knockout, but I'll take what I can get. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, do all of the things. We break every card down every single week. We give you our picks, our bets, our monkey knife fight plays, and our DraftKings input. Do all the things. Sign up with a betting partner. I'll pay you $50. Win the DraftKings League. I'll pay you 15 or 30. Thank you all very much. We will be here next week for the Max Holloway fight. It's early, which sucks, but we're breaking the whole thing down. See you then.